Welcome to The 11 with your hosts, JJ Pavlik of Bad Dog Sports and Anthony Merced of AJM Sports.
Hello again, and we are here at training. We've been at training for the last 2 days, first with NYCFC and now today with the New York Red Bulls. Two huge games and a lot of content out of those as well. Will be JJ will be interviewing Nick Cushing in a few minutes. You'll see that. And then, of course, we've got highlights here from training from both NYCFC and New York Red Bulls. What a week, right? We've got Inter Miami for the Red Bulls, FC Cincinnati for NYCFC. I guess we'll start a little bit with NYCFC. FC Cincinnati, a tough draw for them, especially after finally having their first win, especially going on the road. Lots of players missing for both teams when it comes to international duty. How do you see this one panning out for City?
I think City will be in the game. It's going to come down to their forward play, which seems to be a story with both New York squads. Santi is in form. I would probably expect to see him on the score sheet. It might be a battle between him and Acosta, or, the defensive line will be fine even without Keaton Parks. Nick is more than confident in the guys that he has there. It will probably be a one-goal game. I don't think either side's going to run away with that one.
Yeah, it's worth noting, too, that not just Keaton Parks, but also Daniel Edelman, who was already going to be called away on international duty with the U23 teams, both got red cards in their game. So Keaton Parks will be missing. The one thing I do want to note, James Sands is playing. He did not get called into the national team, so that's a big plus for NYCFC's midfield. They're going to have that strong defensive presence there, something that the Red Bull won't have in their game. So they may have a little bit of that. Although, again, depending on who's left behind for FC Cincinnati, are they going to be able to play in behind those guys, those leftovers, if you will, on that City defense?
It's going to be interesting. The one good thing with Nick is he is very good at changing the formations and adapting on the fly. We have seen him change formation right in the middle of play. Sands will bring that stability that they will miss from Keaton. Sands is a little bit more of a controlled center defensive player where Keaton kind of floats all over. They will miss Keaton's heading ability, obviously, in the box and his height, but Sands can make up for that with his passing ability and getting Bakar and everybody else open in the box and finding the gaps between Cincinnati.
Yeah, cutting over to Red Bull. They will be hosting Inter Miami at Red Bull Arena. We'll be there for that. Another game that's expected to be just downpour rain, unfortunately. So, be a bit of a monsoon there. No Lionel Messi due to injury. Tons of players out. Noah Ellie not expected. Emil Forsberg not there. No one, essentially. We still don't even know if Dante Van Zier is ready to play. He was here training today, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play. A few weeks ago, the same thing happened. We saw him training, and he just wasn't available. And Coach Schwartz didn't necessarily give us too much of an insight on whether or not he'd be ready. If he's not ready, boy, this team has a big problem up front, knowing what we saw in Columbus.
He did mention that Julian Hall will be on the bench. So I would expect if Dante can't go, maybe Elias starts, maybe Julian Hall starts. It's going to probably come down to what they see tomorrow. Another interesting thing is we didn't really hear from the coaching staff the status of Sean Nealis. He did fully participate in training this week. Hopefully he will be ready to go, but he is still also a question mark and could be a very big question mark for this defense.
Yeah, there will be Luis Suarez in the game. We will see the likes of Leo Campana and such. So that'll be a very interesting one as well. Don't go anywhere. In 1 second, we'll be right back with an exclusive interview with NYCFC head coach Nick Cushing.
Welcome to the 11 here with JJ Pavlik and Anthony Merced. We're here with head coach Nick Cushing of NYCFC. Nick, you've spoken about process and the fans needing to be patient with this team. On a personal level, since we already know your professional feelings with the process, but on a personal level, what does it feel like with the fans' demands?
It's frustrating. The results are frustrating because, I want to win and I'm used to winning. I like the demands because it tells me that we still have an expectation as a football club. We didn't win enough football games last year. But but we're still in the period of having the expectation and demand, and I really like that. I get frustrated when we don't deliver it, because the emotion of the sport and of football is that you want to win. So post-match press conferences and post games and that sort of feel at the end of the game is disappointing for me, because I want to win and I want our team to win. But logically, when we go back to the training field and when we review the games, there's many positives that show we're moving in the right direction. And when I say process, I don't mean process that will take a long time, because I'm an impatient guy. So we're accelerating the process. The players have a huge desire to accelerate the process, and a win like the performance against Toronto is belief and drives hope and real desire that we're moving forward quickly.
You've had a tremendous success over in Europe with Man City on the women's side. For the newer fans that aren't familiar with you, can you just talk about the differences between coaching over there and coaching over here?
I joined the organization in 2006 and was successful through my academy life of working with the boys' academies. Had the benefit of having real talent like Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, players like that. And then moving across to the women's team, we developed the team from 2014 through 2015 into being a championship winning team 2016 through 2020. And, to win 7 trophies in 6 seasons was a huge, it's payback for when you work really hard and for when you see the progress that maybe others don't see. So, coming here in 2020 and seeing how competitive the league is and how, the structure and the rules of the league drive almost performance parity. You have to think of ways that your coaching program, your recruitment, your culture is the difference in the top teams season on season. And I really enjoyed that. I think through being the assistant coach through 2020 and 2021, developing the championship team, and then taking the team in 2022 and being able to win Campeones Cup and get to a conference final with that team was a huge achievement for me. But then going through the structure of the league means that you can't keep everybody, and we're going through that process. Last year was about hard work and about recruitment and about developing the team's new culture and not only recruiting new players, but putting in expectation and demands and developing existing players from being younger or maybe squad players into leadership and players that play every week. And I think you see that now with the likes of Keaton Parks and James Sands and Thiago Martins and those type of guys. So we're in the process, and I thoroughly enjoy the hard work every day.
You talk about culture, and the culture here is great. Can you just give the fans an insight into how you built that culture here and what that culture is?
Yeah, I think the culture is, we speak a lot about being together. We speak a lot about having togetherness and having spirit and having character in the group. And they are sort of outcomes and things that you see based on the work that you do in every day. And I think, you have to have hard work. Everybody has to work. And I think the belief in the hard work comes from real honest, real respectful feedback, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And that's two-way between me and my staff and me, and staff and players. And, I think we give everybody a voice here. We make sure that, you get a voice, but you don't always get what you want. So I think that is, you have ups and downs. You have good times and bad times, but I think when you have honesty and you have real clarity in what you want, then you can feed back, and I think it's it's continuous that we make sure that we deal with everything, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and that just brings a real clean culture, I think.
You're from the England area. You've been here now for a while, but what are some of the differences that you've noticed over here, and what are some of the things you miss back at home?
Well, I think I think from a football point of view, I love a Saturday 3:00 game. That's where we are in England. So there's only a quirky thing, but we had the 2:00 at Yankee Stadium against Portland. I really love the feel of that afternoon game. I think the MLS is an incredible league, and I really enjoy it because the rules at times people say they're frustrating and, maybe this or that based on the fact that they are different to other leagues. I really like the fact that coaching and recruiting and culture are the deciding factors. And if you have that 2021 showed me that if you have a good culture with good players that are coached really well, you can be a championship winning team. And that is developed over time. We now have that potential in our group, and I'm really excited for the future. I miss family when, back home. I think, I have my wife and children here, but, I've really enjoyed being here since 2020. It's something I'm challenged every day. I have real drive and hunger every day. And, every day that I come in and I can add value to the team and the organization feels that I'm adding value is another day that I really enjoy my work.
What were your favorite areas over in Europe when you were over there in England that you wish you can be back at right now?
Well, I'm from the northwest of England, so it's a real hotbed of soccer. It's where I'm from in Ellesmere Port. We're really close to Everton and Liverpool. We're not so far from Manchester United and Manchester City, and then there are many clubs around that. Tranmere Rovers, Blackburn Rovers, Huddersfield Town, Chester City. Wrexham is not so far away from where my house, maybe 8 miles from where I live. So it's a real hotbed of soccer, and around that, most kids, boys and girls, are brought up to really, have a real desire to play soccer, whether it be grassroots or academy football. So my two boys played. My daughter was too young when I was in England, but when we go back, she goes, meets up with her family friends, and I think what I miss in the Northwest is that real. My dad is a diehard Evertonian, and he goes to all the Everton games, and I think a good marker of the culture of Northwest football is the team plays on Saturday, and when you win, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is amazing. And when you lose, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is depressing. And then come Thursday, you're so excited for the next game because it's coming round on Saturday. So that is a real marker of the soccer culture where I'm from.
What is your go-to pre-game meal?
I'm not so much an eater before the game. I think, I'm more of a coffee drinker. I like double espresso and, just take some coffee and just relax. But I am intrigued by what the players eat. I always have been. I didn't have the luxury of being a player when I was developing. I developed as a coach from 19 years old right the way through. So I'm 21 years now a coach. But I'm intrigued by the pro players and what they choose to eat. And some eat really heavy, and some eat really light, and some eat carbs, and some eat fruit. And I think it's really interesting how, as a younger player, you don't really know your process. And then by the time you get to being a senior pro, you know exactly what you're going to eat. And you can see those guys that have learned exactly what they need before they play.
Perfect. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
That was our interview with Nick Cushing. And now we will throw it over to some player interviews from both NYCFC and the New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, I think, winning against Toronto gave us a lot of confidence. We really had to work for that win. And we're just trying to carry that momentum into Cincinnati. I think we've got, some guys who are away with international break. But we got guys here who are ready to step up, and I think we're all looking forward to the game.
Kevin, can you talk a little bit about what the vibe was like in the locker room after the game, after that big win, and what kind of relief it felt coming off the shoulders?
Yeah, it was definitely a big relief. It was 2 home games in a row, and we have a tough away stretch, so it was definitely a big relief, but also just really great energy and confidence within the group. I think we really kind of showed ourselves that we can battle in these games, and even when we are down a man and kind of backs against the wall, that we can come away with 3 points. So it was definitely relief, elation, and all the positive emotions.
You talked after the last game about it being a learning experience. What were some of those lessons that you tried to impart on the team this week?
Yeah, it's a little bit different because a lot of players is away with their national teams. So then we have also to be our focus, especially what was good the first games, and but we have to improve for sure this performance of the last game in Columbus, especially. And it was not the most problem in our defense here. The first goal was not good, our behavior in our back four. But the most of the time was the problem after winning ball in our transition, and also the structure in our build-up situation. So this is what we have to improve. We talked about that in our training session and also in our video meeting. But now it's a little bit different to the Miami game because maybe we will play a new structure, Miami will play a new structure, a lot of new players. So this is to find the right balance and also to analyze the Columbus game and also to look forward for the Miami game.
Again, you've now played a few games, feeling much stronger. Going into this Miami game, which you didn't play in last year, how much does it mean to you? Yes, there's no Messi, but still against Suarez and and against Tata. How important is this game, having not been able to play in it last season?
I mean, they're all important. All the games are important. This one maybe a little bit more so, but not because of the players involved, just because I played for that club. So there's always a little bit of excitement when you get to play against a team you represented and a team that I've got a lot of respect for. So it's hard when you miss out on any games this year. Every single team I play this year, I probably missed the chance to do it last year. So try to make up for lost time and excited to play this weekend.
And here we are, Red Bull Arena, back again. This time for the New York Red Bulls and Inter Miami. Quite an interesting lineup from both sides, really. No Lionel Messi, no half of the New York Red Bulls team, no Emil Forsberg. Loads of injuries. We see Elias Manuel not in the 18 at all. Very interesting. Dante Benzier, however, is back. So there is some hope for this New York team going into this. How are you feeling about the starting lineup?
Not good. I don't know on what planet we should be risking our captain and savior at the center back and Sean Nealis in a rain-soaked game that really doesn't mean much given both sides are not playing their A teams. Will we have another Lewis Morgan situation back to back? This time we're being Sean Nealis.
Maybe Lewis Morgan playing against his old team. He did talk earlier, and you saw in the interview earlier in this show as well, mentioned that it does mean something to him to play against his old team. It's funny, you and I disagree on this a little bit when it comes to the importance of this game. I always think back to that LA Galaxy team that, missed out on the playoffs by that one point. Is it important as, the way it was built? No, but a win is still a win. And it does get you, and it can help this team gain a little more confidence and maybe play a little bit more cohesive soccer, which we haven't seen much from them so far this year.
So here's devil's advocate. They play today. Let's say they get the 3 points, but Sean Nealis is out for the year. And your center backing group is Andre Rios, who got beaten badly with Noah Elliott.
That's the other big news as well. Sean Nealis captaining and in the squad for this team, not just in the squad, in the starting lineup. We know he's had an abductor, is that right? An abductor hip injury. He did not play last game against Columbus. He did power through it in the home opener. Again, that was the home opener for the fans, so he pushed through that. But it'll be interesting to see if he has a limit in his minutes. Granted, even if he does, they have an MLS Super Draft kit on the bench to back them up. So there is little to no backup in almost any position for this team in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty much the thinnest I think we've seen in a while from this team. It's pretty much do or die at this point. And we have Cincinnati up next?
Yes. I have to look at the schedule, not too sure.
And another reason really is
no, Orlando's up next. There you go. Orlando's up next, yes.
Orlando, Cincy, Chicago.
It's going to be a rough run. It's going to be a rough run. Okay, time to predict the game. What do you think?
Miami 5, Red Bull 1.
Wow, 5-1. Exact same scoreline as the New York Red Bulls 2 win over the Hudson Valley Hammers. So maybe that'll be that. I'm going to go a little bit more positive. I think this is going to be a 3-3 draw. I think that Miami is very susceptible defensively. I think both teams are going to be giving up goals. So we'll see how it plays out.
See you at the postgame.
Yep, we'll see you at the postgame.
Coach, a lot was going against the team today. Obviously, the weather, missing so many players. What did you take away from this experience and from how the team performed?
Yeah, that is. I said this also to the player after the game in our locker room. It's very important, and not only for the result, also to have this emotions, this feeling with these young guys, and this then also very important for us. Very player. The whole season is a very long season, and they showed today a great performance. All players as a group, and it's also not so easy then when you miss some players and you don't know how the opponents will play, with which structure, who will play, and what we said in the press conference 2 days before. But the mentality was top, and the defense structure was very good the whole time, and also in the first half. And the best moments after winning ball we had in our transitions, and both strikers made a great job. The first step is in their defense behavior to close Busquets, and after that also to have a good connection in the transitions. And Dante is his 4 goal. I think is the first player in club history with these assists with 4 goals, and Luis scored 3 times, but the whole team very good connection, and the whole week was very well. The whole trainings days was good. The behavior, the atmosphere was great also in the hotel today, and it's good that you have then also this feeling on match day.
All right, we're here post game, New York Red Bulls and Inter Miami. So our predictions, both of us were way wrong. Although we almost ended up with yours, but in reverse. New York Red Bulls win 4-0. Your thoughts? I'm a little surprised. Oops.
Where would this team be without Lewis Morgan and Sean Nicholas?
And Dante Benzius 4 assists. Yes, 4 assists. Which I believe it's the first time for this team, but 7th all time in the history of MLS. 7th time all time.
They came, they performed, they took advantage of the pitch conditions. It was not the best. It's probably the worst we've seen this pitch for. Still better than most arenas. But it was noticeable. You could see the water coming off the field. There were several puddles, and they took advantage of it. Miami could not, and that was a difference tonight. Because Miami did have a number of chances where they converted, and they let the pitch conditions get to them, and
talking about the pitch conditions, it did seem like Inter Miami didn't adjust at all. Like there were a few of those passes where you're like, okay, that's not working anymore, and they just kept going with it, and that's where you had, especially in the second half, you had these moments where they were just passing into the middle of the field, and the ball kept dying there, and they kept losing a lot of these in there. Here's a couple. Go for it. Don't worry about it. And so we are in a very busy hallway right now, which is why we're just waving people on here. But yeah, so again, Miami kind of bit themselves a bit, but again, Red Bull down so many pieces, we're still able to get the result. So big kudos to them. Look, when we do the audio pod, this can be a little bit longer form. We can talk about areas where they really could have messed up royally at certain times, but again, they got it done, right? Like they got the points, and now they are tied with 4 other teams at 10 points at the top of the Eastern Conference.
Yes, it was 4-0. But we would be fooling ourselves if it was like a dominant 4-0, which it was not. They just took advantage of the mistakes Miami made them pay. Miami, when they caught the Red Bull in their mistakes, couldn't make them pay, and that was the difference tonight.
Yes, that is the difference, and that kind of wraps it up from Red Bull Arena for us. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.